If automation seems to be a feasible solution, these strategies provide a roadmap to search for improvements. Okay, so if we take a look at these 10 strategies for automation and process improvement, we can see that as the first 4 steps to process improvement or automation is focuses on the operations itself, which are specialization of operations, combined operations, simultaneous operations, and integration of operations. So the beginning part of the automation itself is that we are trying to focus on the process itself, okay, on the operation process itself. Then we move into increased flexibility, then improve material handling and storage, then online inspection, then process control and optimization, then plant operations control, and eventually the whole the wholesome parts of the automation is computer integrated manufacturing. Now, when we talk about specialization of operations, it means we must use special purpose equipment designed to perform one operation with the greatest possible efficiency. So basically, this, of course, will improve the labor productivity. Okay, now the next step of improving the process is what we call combined operations. So this strategy involves reducing the number of distinct production machines or operations which parts must be routed. More than one operation can be accomplished in a single machine, thus reducing the number of separate machines needed. So with less machine setup time, material handling effort, non-operation time, waiting time, and manufacturing lead time associated with the machines can all be reduced. The next one is by doing it simultaneously, or what we call simultaneous operations. So this is logical extension to combined operations, which total processing can greatly be reduced. The more extensive way of doing it is integrating the operations. So when you have the operations specialized and combined and then do it in parallel, by integration of operations, it involves linking several workstations together into a single integrated mechanism, using automated handling devices to transfer parts between stations. So this will reduce the number of separate work centers through which the product must be scheduled. Alright, so when all of these operations have been optimized, okay, we can thus increase the flexibility of the equipment. So this strategy attempts to achieve maximum utilization of equipment for a job shop and a medium volume situation by using the same equipment for variety of parts. Of the strategies and process improvement also includes improving the material handling and storage. This actually speaks for itself because the use of automated material handling and storage system will of course reduce work in process and thus shorten the manufacturing lead times. Okay, so up to now we can see that these steps for automation and process improvement, well, basically not all of the steps can or not all of your processes in a factory can be suitably automated. Okay, but we can also improve the current process by these 10 strategies or approaches to the current process in order for us to improve the productivity of the factory, as well as if we see in the previous slide that the aim of the automation is basically to handle two things, which is the worker and the product. So if you can improve the quality of the product by like reducing the worker jobs, and then as well as improve the safety, and then the product itself can be accomplished with better efficiency, then obviously this is the way, or this is the path or the route that we may take in order to achieve the process improvement and eventually the automation. We can also look into improving the inspection. Okay, so inspection for quality of work is traditionally performed after the process is completed. This means any poor quality product has already been produced by the time it is inspected. So if we incorporate online inspection into the manufacturing, it can permit correction so that to the process as the product is being made. Okay, so this reduces scrap and brings the overall quality of the product closer to the nominal specifications intended by the designer. Okay, the next thing that, or the more advanced thing that we can do is also the process control and optimization. So there's a wide range of basically control schemes intended to operate the individual process and associated equipment more efficiently. Okay, so by this strategy, the individual process times can be reduced and product quality can be improved. Okay, so if the strategy of process control and optimization is concerned with the control of the individual manufacturing process, plant operation controls look at a macro level. Okay, so it attempts to manage and coordinate the aggregate operations in the plant more efficiently. So this basically involves a high level of computer networking within the factory. And finally, the utmost or the absolute automation that we can do to the whole factory is by computer integrated manufacturing. Okay, so going one level higher, we have the integration of factory operations with engineering design and business functions of the firm. So computer integrated manufacturing involves extensive use of computer applications, computer databases, and computer networking throughout the throughout the enterprise. So this strategy is basically is a possibility, okay, to improve the production system. So it's either you simplify things or you automate things, and you don't really consider them to be mutually exclusive. Okay, so that means like if you do automation, if you do simplification, it doesn't mean that you have to just simply do simplification. You can do simplification and automation. Or if you want to do automation, it does not necessarily have to be it doesn't have to be simplified first, okay, before we do the automation. However, the natural way is that we're trying to improve the process first before we go one step further to automation. All right. So the last step is basically automating the process. Okay, so once we simplify and we try to look into all of the 10 strategies and where we can automate the process, the automation itself must follow some kind of migration strategy. You cannot simply do a high level automation straight away right from the start. Okay, so the easiest and least expensive way to accomplish automation is to first design a manual production method using a sequence of workstations operating independently. Okay, so we're looking at this in a form of if you have a static manual production method without a proper processes in place that reduces time and increase flexibility, this cannot be actually, the automation itself will be very difficult to start on. Okay, so if you have a proper manual production method in the first place, and the tooling itself can be fabricated quickly and low cost, you have an efficient workstation already at a manual production phase. Okay, if the product turns out to be successful and higher future demand is anticipated, then it makes sense for the company to automate the production. So automated production in the second phase typically use a single station automated cells operating independently. So as the demand growing, and automation itself, although expensive, can be justified, the single stations are automated to reduce labor and increase production rate. Okay, but the work units are still moved between the workstation manually, right? And finally, at the last stage, okay, when the product itself is successful and you have means and ways to automate the whole production, we migrate to a third phase, which is called automated integrated production. Okay, so this is a multi-station automated system with serial operations and automated transfer of work units between stations. So here, the integration of single station automated cells is warranted to further reduce labor and increase production rate. So the automation migration strategy basically varies from company to company depending on the types of product they make and the manufacturing process they perform. But a well-managed manufacturing companies usually have policies like automation migration strategy. Okay, the advantages of using a migration strategy is basically it allows introduction of a new product in the shortest possible of time. Okay, you have manual first, and then you migrate to automated production before you eventually integrate all the production together. Okay, so the manual workstation itself are easiest to design and implement. Okay, the second one is that the automation itself, if we allow that to be introduced gradually through this migration strategy, such as in planned phase, okay, depending on the demand of the product. So you can engineer changes, okay, in the terms that how the products are made and how much time is provided to do a thorough design job on the automated manufacturing system. It also avoids the commitment to a high level of automation from the start, since there is always a risk that the product, the demand of the product will not justify the automation. So like I said previously, the automation itself is a very high commitment and expensive, and therefore if we do have the demand for the product and we have means to justify the ways that we need automation to increase production, then basically even when we need automation, we have to go through the 10 possible ways or 10 strategies to improve the process first, and then we also have to do it in phases. Okay, so that you have to have a migration strategy in order for your system or the in the factory to be executed or to be automated.